another action-packed episode of Comic Confidential. I'm your host, Cade Moyer. Alongside me today is my lovely assistant, my partner in the Magician's Code, and that's Troy Spinner.
What? What does any of that mean?
You don't know what the Magician's Code is?
What's the Magician's Code?
Well, mate.
Don't tell people your secrets.
Well, no, you see, that's what you think, but it was the complete opposite. It was a TV show from like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Where a masked magician would reveal how all the tricks were done.
Oh, that's actually... I saw that. I think that's on Netflix at the moment.
What?
It's like... It's dead set called like Breaking the Magician's Code or some crap like that. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So what's the Magician's Code?
It's how the tricks are done, mate.
Oh, I
Yes.
see. It's not like a list of like 10 magician commandments
That you must follow.
Yeah, that like thou shalt not genuinely cut someone in half or something. I don't know. What do magicians do? No one even knows.
Who knows? They lie. They're professional liars.
They are basically illusionists. I believe they like to be called. You know what's not an illusion?
What?
The fact that last week on this show we sat here and we said to the listeners, we said, hey, you guys, we haven't had a review in a while. We want to get to 75 reviews. We had 71. We want to get to 75 reviews by episode 85. And this was last week. Here we are, episode 82. You guys have come through. We're at 75 reviews. We got 4 in the week. And now we've got to pick one of these people to what they basically get to do, whoever we decide to pick, who we've already chosen, randomly, a random number generated all beforehand and stuff like that.
Out of 4?
Yeah. You still have to like throw it up there. There's a system in place. Okay. Yeah. There's always a system in place, my friend. Don't break the Magician's Code, you fuckhead. So pretty much what we're going to do now is we're going to pick a winner, and they will actually get to choose what we talk about on episode 85 within reason.
Within reason. It's
got
to be a good idea.
Can't be anything weird. Preferably comic book / pop culture related at some point. But hey, the idea is up to you guys. The ball's in your court. So we did have 4. We had, and I'm not going to read the reviews, just the headlines. And these were all 5 stars, luckily. So thank you. Do appreciate that. But we had Great Aussie Comic Pod from Bamboojikin. I do apologize. I probably butchered that, and it probably is something pretty cool, but I don't know what it is. Hilarious by Raf H. Comic Confidential is great by Cal Comic Goodness. And we had Best Podcast Ever by Chris Bridget.
Can I get that as a seal of approval?
You can. All of those could possibly go onto a shirt at some point.
I want them
available.
I want all of them on one shirt, all with the 5 stars above it. You know how you see it at like Cannes Film Festival?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want.
It's like we're a movie.
Yeah.
That's you, buddy. You're the t-shirt guy.
Damn.
You can make that happen. And the winner is drum roll. That is literally the worst drum roll I've ever heard in my life. The winner is Chris Bridget, best podcast ever. Thank you, my friend. All you need to do is hit us up on either Facebook, Twitter, wherever you normally follow us or listen to us. If you don't, there is comicconpod@gmail.com. All you need to do is just hit us up, let us know that was you, and tell us what you want us to talk about on episode 85. So congratulations again to Chris Bridget. Thank you again to Cal Comic Coolness, Raf H, and Bamboojikin. I think I was a little bit better that time.
Yeah, I think you got it that time.
Yeah. Please, even just hit us up anyway and tell me how to pronounce your name. I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. So there you go.
There you go.
That's it. That's all you have to do sometimes.
What happens, Troy? What happens?
Yeah.
If we get another 5 reviews this week?
Oh,
I'm literally putting you on the spot because this has not been spoken about.
Okay, another 5 reviews this week. So if we
what
can
if we
get
got to 80?
If we can get to 80 by next week's show, then oh geez, you put me on the spot. We will. Actually, what was yours from last week? You had something pretty cool.
Yeah, it was the we do a little secret show for supporters of the show on Patreon.
Oh, cool. Just the boys.
Just the boys. And we're going to call them up and have a Just the Boys test. Actually, we've been talking today a little bit about trivia throwdowns.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So, whoever this may be. Doesn't have to be a boy. It doesn't even have to be a gender if you roll like that.
Yeah.
It can be any.
It can be a gaseous cloud.
Indeed. And you will verse me, the Trivia King,
with a current record of 0-1.
yet to be determined.
Yep.
And Troy will be the quiz master.
Yes, or the Triz Master, as I like to call it. Troy the Quiz Master.
Yeah.
So I say we do that. So if we can get 5 more reviews in the next week, now we're asking a lot. That's a lot to do, but you guys came up with 4 in it was pretty much 4 days.
Yeah, that was quick.
Yeah, so it was pretty quick. So if we can come up with another 5 by next week's show, we will pick one of you guys, and you will be a special guest on Just the Boys Trivia Smackdown number 2, versing the amazing Cade, or the Fat Cade, name to be determined.
Yeah, Fat Cade.
Fat Cade. Yeah. There you go. So that's it. So yeah, that's all you got to do. And as Cade did say, the show is called Just the Boys, but it doesn't matter. You can be absolutely anything you want to be, and you can be on the show. We've had Amy on there. So that's testament to the fact we'll let anything in.
That's right.
So that's it. Do that.
Get on the show and be one of the cool kids.
Yeah. You want to talk about some news?
Yeah, let's go into the news.
All right, well, Deadline is reporting that Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins is close to closing a deal to direct Wonder Woman 2 that will see her being paid substantially more than she made on Wonder Woman and will put her on par with her male Hollywood counterparts. While many thought Jenkins' return for the sequel was all but a done deal, these final negotiations with Warner Brothers will likely lead to Jenkins becoming the highest paid female director in Hollywood, and Wonder Woman 2 is set for a December 13, 2019 release date. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, is this a case of, just do it? Just give her the money?
Yeah, I would think so. I'm surprised they haven't, locked her down already.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that, the pay thing is an issue. Honestly.
Yeah.
She made a fantastic movie. And do you think the media is, blowing it out of proportion? Because she's obviously a female director, directed one of the biggest blockbusters of 2017.
Well, yeah, the biggest domestically, I believe.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Do you think they're making a bigger deal out of it than they should do? Because
No.
I reckon if you go back and you get maybe the Russo brothers, their first movie, I reckon it might have been a bit meh.
Well, it's not her first movie. You got to understand, she has done a Hollywood movie before.
I'm talking when I say first movie, it's these big blockbusters.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So,
now I don't ever really want to have to get political or serious.
This is
on the
not
show.
what this podcast is about.
We don't really roll that way. I don't think we're built to be like that. But the Hollywood wage gap is real.
Is it really?
It's dead set.
Yeah.
Real.
Okay.
And it's unfortunate that these negotiations are probably they're only taking as long as they are because I would assume Patty Jenkins is fighting for what she believes is right. Not Warner Brothers is going, let's give you a truckload of money, and she's kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want that much money. Or it's like, oh, I don't really know if I want to direct Wonder Woman 2, because I'm pretty sure she's come out and she said, yes, let's do this. Let's make it happen. She's keen. It's her vision. Everything that we've seen in that movie is pretty much predominantly because of her. So I think this is more a case of her having to fight for what she believes is if she can make a movie that is crossed $800 million and is the first ever female director to make, X amount of money multiple times over, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I genuinely believe that she is having to fight for what she feels should be a fair slice of the pie.
What does a director actually get? What would Joss Whedon get? Is there an actual number on there? Is it ever really?
Yeah, there are numbers.
Let out.
Yeah. There are definitely numbers, and when you're talking about first-time directors and stuff like that, or when you're talking about directors for this type of thing, Patty Jenkins might have gotten $50,000 to $75,000 or something like that for this movie, and that's very much
that much. When I say that much, I mean I'm surprised it's that low.
Yes. Yeah, look, honestly, that's probably pretty close to what she got paid. And I have done a little bit of research into it, but you put me on the spot. And I don't have these numbers in my head, goddamn you. I don't know what Joss Whedon gets. Probably a shit ton now, though, let me tell you. Maybe back when he, first did, when he was doing, whatever his first movie after the Buffy series was, or something like that, maybe his first big budget movie wasn't, that much either. And when you look at like some of the stars as well, like these first-time stars like Gal Gadot, and when you're talking about like Henry Cavill, don't let that $10 million or whatever it was fool you. It was nothing like that. Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're all on around the same sort of money. It's at $50,000 to $75,000 to $100,000 for these movies. These movies that are pulling in hundreds of millions of dollars.
That's insane.
So it's insane. So, but,
someone is going to correct you on this.
Oh, look, they 100%, and that's fine. I think the hardest thing to judge is like how consistent the difference is between like what a female director would get and what a male director would get. And the only reason I say that is because there are 30 times more male directors or more than there are female directors in Hollywood, and that's kind of part of the problem. So yeah, it's hard to actually answer your question, but the fact is, it's fuck all, and for something that can make as much money as that makes, it should be a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. That's borderline criminal, mate.
It is, because Warner Brothers are raking it in, and those executives are lining their fat cat pockets, and whatever they're doing,
eating their juicy steaks at lunch,
eating their juicy steaks in their ivory towers, while the rest of us are, kind of just, eating canned dog food. Wow. I don't actually really do that, but like that's just the worst case scenario, Yeah,
I've heard of that.
But I guess to put it all to bed, 100% deserved. They should just give her whatever she wants.
Take all the money.
Take all the goddamn money. Take some of my money. I don't have a lot, but you can have it if you're going to direct Wonder Woman 2. Right?
Right.
Now, The Hollywood Reporter has learned that Lucasfilm and Disney have entered early negotiations with 3 times Academy Award-nominated director Stephen Daldry, who directed Billy Elliot, to helm an upcoming Star Wars spin-off movie centered on the fan favorite Obi-Wan Kenobi. The Hollywood Reporter has revealed that Lucasfilm and... look, I'm reading the exact same thing again. I've completely lost my spot. Where was I up to? To helm an upcoming Star Wars spin-off movie centered around Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, while the movie is in its earliest possible stages of development, it will join the other slated anthology movie Han Solo, as well as the recently announced Boba Fett and Yoda in Disney and Star Wars long list of upcoming projects. My computer absolutely shat itself for a second there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That could have been a disaster.
Technology, my friend. It's here to make your day so much easier.
I reckon you might have got onto an endless loop there.
Yeah, I was almost just going to keep reading the same thing, and this just would have been an hour of me reading the same paragraph over and over again.
That's great content.
That is great content. So anyway, the whole point of this whole story is that, so Lucasfilm and Disney have announced that they are finally going to do an Obi-Wan standalone movie. So what are your thoughts on that? And do you think that Ewan McGregor should return as Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Ooh. Do you reckon he's too old?
He's pretty old.
Do you think
But it depends on what kind of... Because if you look at him in the prequels...
Yes.
And then if you look at Alex Guinness in... Oh, yeah.
There's like, about 400 years of difference.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor could technically keep doing this until he was 70.
Yeah.
And not have it make a difference. So, yeah. Why not?
Look, to be honest, I want to know 2 things.
Yeah.
Out of this whole... This movie. 1, I want to know how he got the catchphrase, hello there.
Yeah.
And 2, I want to know how he learned the high ground was a better place to be.
Okay. I like that. I would say years of practice.
Yeah.
Years of getting his ass kicked on the school, like the Jedi Academy playground, when he's like on the sand pit, when there's someone that's on the monkey bars, and they're kicking his ass on the high ground the whole time, and he eventually learnt through years and years of ass beatings that he needed to get the high ground, because the high ground works better, as you've seen, as Anakin Skywalker can attest to, with no legs and whatnot.
You got new legs.
What about Yoda and Boba Fett as standalone movies? Yeah, that's where I'm a bit more like,
Is there enough there to like actually flush out?
See, now Boba Fett, I would say yes, because
Boba Fett definitely. Yeah. Yoda,
yeah, like yes, I understand that. Like this is a centuries old character.
Is he going to be a tadpole? What's a young Yoda look like? how small is a young Yoda?
Young Yoda looks exactly like Kermit the Frog.
Yes.
It's basically just a Kermit the Frog
Yeah,
movie.
exactly.
It's another Muppets movie. Disney are making another Muppets movie. We've solved it.
Is he Oscar the Grouch?
Who?
Yoda.
No, Yoda is Kermit.
No, but I'm just thinking.
Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street.
Yes.
He lived in a trash can.
Yeah. He lives in a cave.
Yeah, it's basically like a trash can, I suppose. I would say no.
We'll find out.
We'll find out soon enough, though. But I would be with you, yeah. Like a Yoda story is one of those things that I don't think we need it. Is there anything, that you really would want to see from a Yoda story? I mean, Boba Fett, he was there when his dad got beheaded, and that's kind of like the time where he probably decided that he wanted to do the same thing, because if you're ever going to decide to, take a walk in your father's shoes, it's going to be when he's just been decapitated by a Jedi.
Hey, can I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
How does his head not fall out of the helmet in that scene?
It's suction cups.
Oh, it must be.
Yeah, so I think when you put the helmet on, there's suction cups in there that stick to you to make sure that it doesn't flop around when you're trying to look and shoot at things.
Yeah.
There's probably something a little bit more technologically advanced than suction cups, but if not, it's suction cups.
I guess one way you could think of it is like a motorbike helmet.
Yeah.
They're snug to get on.
Yes.
Almost impossible to get off.
Basically, this will get a little bit graphic, but motorcycle helmets are really just designed to keep the head together.
Yeah.
In an impact and stuff like that. So not really designed to stop you from dying necessarily. They do help, 100%. Please wear your helmets. But realistically, they're designed to in heavy impacts. They just keep everything intact. So similar to a Boba Fett helmet is kind of what I'm getting to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so maybe that's it. Just it's too snug, and it can't your head just can't slide out.
I think we've just answered the age-old question on the internet there.
Yep. So now we don't need a Yoda or a Boba Fett movie. But give me that Obi-Wan, because we've still got to figure out how he comes up with the catchphrase "Hello there," which is very interesting, I'm sure. Sticking with Star Wars, though, Han Solo director Ron Howard has shared another behind-the-scenes image from the set of the still untitled anthology movie, this time teasing the involvement of the Galactic Empire. Now, the picture, which features what looks to be the helmet of an Imperial Death Squad commander with the caption "The Empire looms large," is the latest in a bunch of behind-the-scenes photos released from the director, who very recently and publicly replaced previous directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Han Solo is slated for a May 25th, 2018 release. Now, what I want to know is, I want to know your thoughts on the involvement of the Empire in the Han Solo movie, right, and all this, but more important to that, the bevy of behind-the-scenes photos that we're getting from Ron Howard. Is this kind of a case of drumming up interest, in a film seemingly plagued by disaster from the start?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. He is just trying to drum up some interest of, hey, this movie isn't going to be a shit hot mess.
Yeah. It might sound like it's going to be a shit hot mess, but trust me, it's not.
Yeah, here's all this really, really cool stuff.
Yeah. Trust Papa Ron, everything's okay.
Papa Ron has got this covered, baby.
He does.
Now, the fact that we've got the Empire in this, I don't know if we need that for a Han Solo movie. I want him being around doing larrikin things.
Larrikin things. With his larrikin mate, Woody Harrelson, who's like his dad or whatever. He's not his dad, but you know what I mean.
Could be.
Mentor.
Mentor.
Mentors are like dads.
Do you reckon we're looking at a Guardians of the Galaxy thing there?
Maybe. Like a bit of a Yondu-ish type of, spoilers if you haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 yet.
Well, too bad. It's been out for 6 months.
It has.
You can get it on DirecTV now.
You can. And if you haven't seen it yet, God damn it, there's no excuse now. Go and see
Press
the movie.
pause, go watch it.
Yeah, and then come back.
And then come back.
We'll tell you a story about Yondu and Peter
tell me
Quill.
how much you hate Cat Stevens after that.
Oh, Cat Stevens. What a terrible song. Anyway.
I'm not crying, you are.
That's got nothing to do with anything. Here's my thing, right? I think Ron Howard is dead set. It's a little bit of damage control. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
But it's exactly that. It's kind of like, here's a shot of, because you don't really see all this sort of stuff shared by the director. It's usually leaked set pics and stuff like this. But this is the director kind of going, hey, look at this. This is Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian in the hot seat in the Millennium Falcon.
Is that not the most perfect casting in the world?
Well, we'll have to see what happens. But
visually.
Yeah, visually, yeah, sure. I think it's pretty, like, I heard this story about like Donald Glover when he actually sat with Billy D. Williams to kind of like talk about the like how to portray Lando Calrissian and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
He's going and like, he sat down, he was very overly excited, and he was even running a little bit late, and he's kind of like, oh, should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? And Billy D. Williams basically just stopped him and said, hey, just be cool, baby.
Oh,
That's all you got to do. And that's perfect. I mean, that's perfect. Perfect Billy D. Williams, perfect Lando Calrissian, and hopefully Donald Glover takes that advice and just be's cool. Just be's cool.
Just be's cool,
Just
man.
be's cool, baby. What are we talking about? Don't know. Han Solo sounds like it's in trouble. Ron Howard's trying to tell you that it's not.
Sounds like this news, sorry.
Basically.
Next one.
In an interview with Heroic Hollywood, director David F. Sandberg has confirmed that his upcoming Shazam movie will be the next DCEU film to shoot after Justice League, and that a script is complete. He has also commented on the possibility of The Rock's Black Adam appearing, saying, there's been variations of the script, like before I came along, where, variations where Black Adam was in and out, and, but now this is just about Shazam. Casting news is expected to be announced shortly, and Shazam is slated for an April 5th, 2019 release. So no Black Adam. Not really surprising at all, because they did kind of hint that this wasn't going to happen. But any surprises that, this movie's kind of come out of nowhere to be the next film to start filming.
I swear we spoke about this last week, about it going ahead, and it's like, oh yeah, by the way, the script's done. Next week we'll be talking about everyone who's in this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
I guarantee it.
It's crazy. This is moving along quicker than anything I've ever seen. Like, this is... Like, honestly, like you said, I don't think it was that long ago where I was talking about, hey, do you think they're ever actually going to do a Shazam movie? Guess what? They are, and it starts shooting in a few fucking months. It is absolutely mental.
Have you seen, I don't know if these are real, but the little one-page script leaks?
Oh, no, that wasn't real.
That wasn't real?
No, it was, I think it was David Sandberg having a bit of fun with people.
Yeah, sure.
Because, it was kind of like, was it like Superman fighting Billy Batson?
Yeah, and he gets up with his bitch face and shit like that.
Yeah. That was David Sandberg having a bit of fun with the fans, and that bodes really well for what this movie should be. Hopefully,
absolutely,
it should be a lot of fun. He seems like he's having a lot of fun with it. He's gone deep into the to the Shazam and Captain Marvel lore. Trying to get the best possible story for us. So I'm excited, man. I'm really excited about some casting news though. We've got to find out who this is. Soon. Right? John Cena.
John Cena
is Shazam. Make it happen. In other Captain Marvel news, right?
Oh, real Captain Marvel?
The Marvel. Whoa, triggered.
Hey.
Marvel Studio has hired Geneva Robertson Dworet, the writer from the upcoming Tomb Raider reboot, to replace Meg LaFauve and Nicole Perlman as the screenwriters for Captain Marvel. Nicole Perlman has also come out to say that this is not a page one rewrite, and the majority of the ideas will stand, saying all the ideas that San Diego Comic-Con Marvel panel shared this year were pre-Geneva's involvement. Others will stay too. Can't say more, which is all to say it's going to be fine, and the project is in excellent hands. And in additional Captain Marvel news, Samuel L. Jackson has revealed that he hasn't yet signed a contract to appear in the movie, despite what Kevin Feige announced at San Diego Comic-Con. He has also not been asked to appear in Avengers 3 or 4. Captain Marvel is still scheduled for a March 8, 2019 release. Let me paint a picture for you for a second.
Okay.
Imagine this news. You take out Captain Marvel, you replace it with the Batman. Right? And would the internet literally be shitting its pants right now?
What's the time code here? It's about 24 minutes. Triggered.
Triggered twice in one story.
Wow. Yeah, you're 100% right. It sounds like that's a whole bunch of words saying a whole bunch of nothing.
Yeah, but does this actually? Because we'll talk about it like we talk about the Batman or anything like that is getting a script rewrite and stuff like that. Does this spell trouble for you? I mean, the fact that Kevin Feige has come out and he said, "Hey, Samuel L. Jackson's going to be in this movie. Samuel L. Jackson's going to have two eyes," and Samuel L. Jackson's kind of like, "Yeah, I haven't actually seen a script or signed a contract to say I'm actually in this movie yet."
I feel like that's such a rookie error, in the sense that he can just ask for more money now.
Yeah, it's like, well, you kind of said you want me in.
Yeah.
And see, this is the thing. Like, if they haven't put him in Civil War, which they didn't, if they haven't put him in Avengers 3 or 4, which they haven't, do they really need to have Nick Fury in any of these movies anymore?
Well, yeah, that's exactly right.
So if he played hardball, could they not just turn around and go, hey, actually, you know what, Sam, we don't need you anymore?
Mm. Is there anything for Nick to do in this universe?
Not really.
Like his story has been completed with getting the Avengers together.
Yeah, pretty much. You could say that. You could comfortably say that. And that's not to say that, he doesn't have a prominent role in the comics and, there's not a billion other things that him or S.H.I.E.L.D. or, the rebuilt version of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever could do. But I just, when you've got a movie like with Avengers, say, when we'll talk about Infinity War, that's got 60 fucking characters or something like that are going to be on screen at any one time. You probably don't need like the one human dude with one eye that probably doesn't really have a lot to do, other than the fact that he works with S.H.I.E.L.D., who probably won't really have much to do because they've kind of got the Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy and, Doctor Strange and this, that, and the other handling everything anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like he's made himself redundant. When you do your job too good, and you hire that, you become the guy that then hires people,
yeah,
and then you hire the guy that takes your job.
Yeah.
That's what he's done, but with like 6 people.
Yeah, pretty much. And he's done such a good job to a point that like they have started to like draw the character like him in the comics, which is interesting. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. I mean, whether he turns up or not, we love Samuel L. Jackson. We want to see him in these goddamn movies, right?
Goddamn right.
As far as the script rewrites for Captain Marvel itself,
take it with a grain of salt.
It doesn't seem to be like a big deal at the moment. Now, one last thing we're going to talk about in news is the fact that Marvel have released a brand new international trailer for Thor Ragnarok, featuring the first appearance of Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange since the end credits of his solo movie. Strange is seen warning Chris Hemsworth's Thor that he senses a great change in your future, and while the rest of the trailer seems to be made up of shots from the recent San Diego Comic-Con teaser, there are a few brief snippets of new footage. Thor Ragnarok is set for an October 26th Australian release. It's just around the corner.
I can taste it.
I can literally taste it. How big a part do you think Doctor Strange is going to play?
I reckon he'll be the first quarter of this movie.
So you think this is kind of all before Thor gets banished to Sakaar?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think what happens, Thor comes to Earth looking for Odin. Obviously, we've seen set photos of Odin in Brisbane. 6 months ago? Maybe a year ago now.
Yep.
And he was there with Loki, so they've obviously gone to Earth to find him. They'll come back to Asgard, and Hela will be there.
Yeah, cool.
And I reckon that's when we see Thor throw down with Hela, get the hammer destroyed.
Sweet. So 1 or 2 scenes.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. The hype is real for this goddamn movie, though.
Absolutely. And, the problem with this whole, I guess, the trailers is you see the difference in hair with Thor.
Yep.
So it's quite...
that is true. So it's obviously prior to that happening. Yeah, fair point. Very observant, my friend.
There you go.
There is one more news story that it's going to kind of lead into our main segment.
You making a segue?
I'm making a segue.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at it. And that is the fact that Daniel Craig is back, baby.
He's back.
He's back. That's right. With the news that Daniel Craig has officially confirmed, his likely final appearance as James Bond in the still untitled Bond 25, we thought, what better time than now to take a look back on all the Bonds that have been and give our thoughts on each and every one of them, from Connery to Craig, to find out what they got right, what they got wrong, and most importantly, who is the best 007 of all time. So I figure we kind of talk about them, from like, not in any kind of structure that we like, more how they actually appeared.
Okay.
So, starting obviously with Sean Connery and finishing with Daniel Craig. And then we can talk about, who we like best and all that sort of stuff. So talking about Sean Connery, the OG.
The OG?
The OG. He appeared in a total of 6 Bond movies, and that was Dr. No in 1962, From Russia with Love in 63, Goldfinger in 64, Thunderball in 65, You Only Live Twice in 67, and Diamonds Are Forever in 71. Now, what do we like about Sean Connery?
Sean Connery, everyone loves this bloke. He is the James Bond that you think of when you think of James Bond.
Yeah.
His accent.
His accent.
Well,
interesting, though, to note that initially, initially Bond was supposed to be from England.
Yes.
Right? And because of Sean Connery, and because of Sean Connery's accent, Ian Fleming actually changed his kind of backstory to be that he was born in Scotland and then eventually moved to England when he was like 11 or something like that.
Yeah, right.
So, which they kind of touched on later again in Skyfall.
Yep.
So, yeah, even Ian Fleming was like such a fan of like the fact that Sean Connery couldn't be fucked putting on an English accent, basically.
He rewrote the rules.
Yeah, he basically just rewrote the whole thing around him.
That's amazing.
It is.
If that's not credit to the guy, what is?
Well, another thing that's pretty interesting to note about Sean Connery's Bond is the fact, and I did not know this until I was doing a bit of research today, and I think this is fascinating, throughout the entire time. So he did 6, technically 7 movies, because there is one that he did that was done by MGM Productions and not through Eon. So when we're talking about Bond 25, we're talking about the 25 Bond movies that have been done through Eon Productions.
Yeah.
There are 2 outside of that, and one of them is Never Say Never Again, and that was done through MGM. For whatever reason, doesn't even matter. We're not even going to get into that. But the fact is, from the time that he started, so in 1962, he was already heavily balding. So he had to wear a toupee.
You're kidding?
No, through every single one of those movies.
Wow.
From start to finish. So when you see him, the first time you see him in Dr. No, all the way back in 1962, motherfucker's wearing a toupee.
He could have been the original Bruce Willis. If he could have been ahead of the times.
Well, basically, once he stopped being Bond, he kind of just stopped like wearing toupees.
Wow.
And kind of just really went the way of Bruce Willis, just not as quickly as Bruce Willis went. Bruce Willis.
Look,
yeah.
One thing I love about the Sean Connery Bond is the fact that there's this great movie theory going around, is that he is Bond in The Rock.
Right.
What's your thoughts on that? Is that stretching a bit too far?
It's stretching. It is stretching. He was, they did say that he was former SAS. I don't know if they said MI6. I can't remember The Rock that well, as much as I love that movie. If they had have mentioned at any point that his background was like MI6, then I will buy into that fully. And I will, that's cool. That's cool as shit, to be honest with you. And then you can technically say that Nicolas Cage has been in a James Bond movie, which is also pretty sweet.
Yes.
I like it. I don't know whether it's true, but fuck yeah, make it happen. What about, I guess, when you talk about Sean Connery, you're talking about he's the definitive Bond. This is the Bond that everybody thinks is most people's kind of favorite Bond.
Yeah.
Charming, witty, borderline alcoholic, womanizer, judo chopping the shit out of people left, right, and center. What don't you like about that Bond?
He is too old.
Too old?
Yeah, I feel like...
you want to talk about too old? We'll get to that.
We'll get to it. No, but I don't know. He just feels like he's not the physically capable man.
You don't think he could physically handle himself as well as he does?
Yeah, and I know there's all the training in the world, but I kind of need my Bond to look like he would be physically imposing.
Yeah, which realistically they've kind of never done until Daniel Craig.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Pierce Brosnan, just slightly, but
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about Connery, he just seems like he's the most physically least imposing, probably, out of all the Bonds.
Okay. My thing against Sean Connery would be that pretty much after... I'd say that his last 2 or 3 movies, kind of, when you're looking at You Only Live Twice, Diamonds Are Forever especially, and then when he did come back to do Never Say Never Again, This is Sean Connery like we know Sean Connery now, and that's I'm here for a motherfucking paycheck.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't give a fuck about anything that is happening around me. I'm just going to be me. I'm going to do what I think is right. You guys are going to pay me a buttload of money, and, that's kind of it. So, like, I think he kind of, towards the end of his tenure, had really given up and was just in it for a paycheck.
Actually, you know what? The more I think about that, the more I agree with you. Like, he's not James Bond. He's just Sean Connery.
He's Sean Connery.
Yeah.
He's Sean Connery with some slick judo moves.
That's it.
But he's number one. He's the OG. So, you got to give him that. All right, let's move on to George Lazenby. Now, he made one appearance as James Bond, and that was on Her Majesty's Secret Service in 1969. So I guess it does make it kind of hard to compare him with the rest of the Bonds because he really only had his one appearance. He's probably got one of the coolest overall actual stories.
Right, because I've never actually seen this movie.
This movie isn't that bad.
Right.
So, it's like, I wouldn't say it's like the best Bond film because it's not. But, if we're talking about 25 Bond movies, I would put it upwards within the top 15 for sure.
Yeah, right.
So, and that's one appearance. I think the coolest thing about this guy is that he actually had no acting experience prior to this. He was a male model that had been in some commercials, and he basically lied his way into the job as James Bond.
That's amazing.
By basically dressing, and acting like James Bond, and then lying to the film's producers about these movies that he had made, but they couldn't actually verify.
Wow.
So they kind of like gave him the job, and like once the auditions and all that were done and they had given it to him, he came clean.
Got you, suckers.
Basically, and they said, hey, well, like, you fooled us, so you still got the job.
There you go.
So he kept the job, but apparently he clashed with the director so bad that the director kind of refused to talk to him on set, to the point that at the director's birthday party, when George Lazenby arrived, the director left.
Wow.
Left his own birthday party. Hated him that much. And he's Aussie too, by the way. So
yes.
Yeah. So really hard to judge. Did do a pretty good job, but he only had one. Sometimes, though, I do think that you can see that his inability to act is definitely there.
Look, if that's not the most Aussie thing in the world, I don't know what is. You rock up to a job, you realize, shit, I'm not really qualified enough, and you just kind of bullshit your way through it. You do the bare minimum probably that you needed to do.
Yeah.
But you come out on top.
Yeah, sure.
That's Aussie spirit.
Aussie spirit. George Lazenby, you win points purely for Aussie spirit. All right, so that's going to take us to our longest-serving Bond, and that is Roger Moore. Roger Moore, he who had 7 total appearances, with Live and Let Die in 73, The Man with the Golden Gun in 74, The Spy Who Loved Me in 77, Moonraker in 79, For Your Eyes Only in 81, Octopussy in 83, and A View to a Kill in 85. Now, what are some of the things you like about Roger Moore as Bond?
When you think that Sean Connery was the most well-known one, Roger Moore sticks his head up.
Yeah.
Roger Moore probably has some of the most cult classic James Bond movies.
Yeah.
He's definitely more of the modern era in the sense that there's more entertainment in these movies, I feel.
Yeah. He kind of brought a little bit of like silliness, I guess, to the character.
He brought the cheekiness, the sexiness, the silliness.
The camp,
yeah,
if you want to call it. And The Spy Who Loved Me and The Man with the Golden Gun are 2 of my personal favorite Bond movies as well. And he's the longest serving. Like, literally, like, no one else has 7 movies. I mean, you can technically say, if you want, that, what's his name, Sean Connery, might have done 7. I think it was... Just let me check my notes. No, it was definitely 6 with that one weird one. So we'll call it 7. But it's not 7 actual Bond movies. So he still takes the title of having the longest. Here's what I don't like about Roger Moore, right? Now, I don't know how well you remember these movies at all, but Octopussy.
Mm-hmm.
There is a scene there where he kind of disarms a nuke. I think he's disarming a nuke, dressed in a clown suit, so a full clown suit from head to toe. So
He
you
is
know,
also the master of disguise, Troy.
he is also the master of disguise. But that's kind of taken it a bit too far. So you know, like you can do what you want with Bond. You probably can't dress him up in a clown suit. That is something that I will never forget. And he was also well and truly the oldest Bond as well.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Interesting when you compare him to Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Like, Sean Connery looked like he had 10 years on this guy.
Yeah, for sure. Like, but when Roger Moore first got the job with Live and Let Die, he was 45 years old.
Wow.
And by the time he finished, he was 58.
Insane.
58. And unfortunately, like when you look at his last movie, which is like A View to a Kill, you can tell he is 58. Like he looks like an older dude.
He's done.
Banging all these like 20-year-old women, which is just weird.
Is it weird, or is he living the life?
Well, you know, it's not to say that he's not living that James Bond life, that's for sure. But I think at some point, when you're a viewer, you don't want to watch your granddad banging your girlfriend, basically.
No, absolutely not. Look, there's one thing that I think you're really missing about the Roger Moore era.
What's that?
Is that this really inspired a lot of the Austin Powers,
Yeah.
I guess, satire.
Yeah, so The Spy Who Loved Me obviously became The Spy Who Shagged Me. There's a lot.
Yeah.
For sure. There's a few in the Sean Connery ones as well, though.
Yeah.
Goldfinger especially.
Indeed.
Which is also, personally one of my favorite Bonds as well. I have a lot.
You do have a lot.
But there's 25 of them. Well, 24, nearly 25.
How can you only have a few good ones? You've got to have a lot.
Exactly that. Roger Moore, though, definitely a lot of fun. Definitely brought the fun into it. But his movies, and like I know this is not necessarily him as Bond, but his movies had probably some of the cooler action sequences.
Yep.
Like if you think of like if some of these were done now, they would be fucking amazing. And like, you know, we're getting like a lot of this stuff in the Mission Impossible series and stuff like that, but some of these stunts were cool as shit.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Most definitely. And he was also, I do believe he was our tallest, most imposing Bond that we've ever had.
I believe that's true.
He was a giant, this man.
He was. Unfortunately passed away earlier this year.
Yep.
Sadly, but the gentleman was in his 80s, had an illustrious career, and was Bond 7 fucking times. Not many people can say that, nor say that they were also the Saint before that. So
Ooh.
Roger Moore basically
He
fucked
owned
everyone's shit up. He owned it all, and he probably banged your mum at some point too. That's going to take us to Timothy Dalton, who appeared in just two Bond movies.
Just two.
Timothy Dalton was in The Living Daylights in 1987, and he was in License to Kill in 1989. Good thing about Timothy Dalton is he's probably the best overall actor out of all of these people, in my opinion.
You know what's funny, though? I've never seen a Timothy Dalton Bond movie.
Seriously.
Seriously.
Well, see, the thing with Timothy Dalton Bond movies, and this kind of like pleases some people and cheeses some people off. So Timothy Dalton's kind of take on it was very much like a more serious version. So Roger Moore just gave us 13 years of Bond, you know, dressing as a fucking clown and doing this and like all this crazy shit. Timothy Dalton came along, and Timothy Dalton's like, nah, fuck this. This guy's going to be fucking like, he's going to be kick-ass, he's going to be a bad motherfucker, he's going to fuck shit up. And it kind of went more on like, you know, kind of more, he took it away from like this spy out to get some lovin', basically, out to, you know, this highly trained spy out to fuck your shit up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so they're actually more like, they're very serious. And so, but a lot of people don't class Timothy Dalton as a good Bond because he didn't kind of bring like the wit and the warmth to the character and all that sort of stuff.
I can see that. So
I would highly recommend, like, you know, if you're a Bond fan, definitely see those two movies though, because you know, while it's again hard to kind of really, you know, pit the guy up against, you know, Roger Moore with 7, and you know, like even Pierce Brosnan, who we're going to talk about soon, had 4. You know, this guy only had 2. And it was this that, like, it was his 2 that kind of, like, had people going, maybe this character's seen its day.
yeah, really.
You know? Yeah. So, and that's kind of what led to, like, what would be the longest ever since the start in 62 to, like, Spectre in 2015, the longest wait between Bond movies of all time at 6 years.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah.
So what were the two movies that he did? Like, what were they about? What was the story?
What was the story? Well, watch them for starters. Like, go and actually see them. But eventually, like, not eventually, essentially what it comes down to is it's kind of more like a revenge film. Like,
right.
it's not necessarily like, here's this ridiculous thing that I need to do. It's like, hey, you killed my fucking wife.
And I'm coming to get you.
And I'm coming to get you.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
right.
I'm going to fuck your shit
And
up.
that's very different from what most Bond titles are.
Yeah, well, it's more, more Born than Bond sort of
Exactly.
thing. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like maybe, it was in, like, you got to think, like, this is, what were the years? 87 and 89. So this is in the hyper-violent 80s action movie decade.
And they've missed the boat on all that.
Well, I think they kind of tried to, like,
Jam it in?
yeah, to kind of try and fit in with what was popular in the 80s, and it just didn't work for fans of the Bond franchise. Could have been two really good standalone other movies if they had have changed his name from Bond to Smith.
Yeah.
That's going to take us to Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, shit.
Can you hear the rage in my voice?
Can you hear the delight in mine?
So Pierce Brosnan had 4 appearances: Goldeneye in 95, Tomorrow Never Dies in 97, The World Is Not Enough in 99, and Die Another Day in 2002. What do you like about Pierce Brosnan as Bond?
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Look, let's go all the way back to GoldenEye.
Yep.
And great movie. Absolutely fantastic.
I love GoldenEye.
GoldenEye, the video game. What was better, the game or the movie?
The game.
The game, most definitely. Really started the first-person shooter genre, I guess, again.
Yep.
Now, Pierce Brosnan, the thing I remember about him the most is that he seemed like the real cocky wanker guy.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely how they wrote this Bond. I remember him having a car that turned into a submarine, that he jumped out of the water and jumped in a hot air balloon.
Yep.
Like, that's how you describe this James Bond. Like, he's almost like a cartoon character. And
Or how about from Die Another Day, where he's like parasailing on a tidal wave while he's like trying to escape this like satellite laser. You remember that?
no, I don't.
Well, there you fucking go. Because like, I think with Pierce Brosnan, they kind of like, they were really trying to make these things like spectacles rather than decent spy movies. They were kind of really just trying to like, hey, look at this fucking action scene, and look at this ridiculous shit that we're doing, and here's a fucking BMW that can drive by itself, and here's this motherfucker in a tank in the streets of St. Petersburg, stuff like that. St. Petersburg. It sounded like I said St. Penisburg.
Wow.
So no offense to our listeners in St. Petersburg in Russia. I did not call it St. Penisburg, I swear.
Oh, my God.
But
yeah,
if I did, it would have been brilliant.
well, mate, you can't ever call it that now because you've just wasted your content.
Ah, damn it.
But look, this James Bond was really a live-action cartoon character.
Yep.
Overly successful with the ladies.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing ever in doubt for him.
Yeah.
He would almost walk into a room and the slippery when wet signs would come out.
It's just like the sound of like panties dropping.
Yeah.
It's like if you were reading the book, it'd be Pierce Brosnan enters the room to the deafening sound of panties dropping.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how I imagine a Pierce Brosnan Bond book would be written.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yeah.
That was the epitome of him being like crazy next level with his little submarine car.
Yeah.
Jumping into a fucking hot air balloon to fight I think a ninja woman.
Yeah, it was a ninja woman.
To then only fall like 50 meters onto a building and catch onto a skinny rail and kind of just put his arm in a sling.
Yeah, he's pretty good. What did I like about him? Everything in GoldenEye, nothing beyond.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Way too like Pierce Brosnan does not look like a dude that can handle himself in a fight. Pierce Brosnan looks like the dude that you punch in the face because he called you a wanker at the pub.
Yeah.
And thought he could fight.
Yes.
Pierce Brosnan looks like he's the investment banker that makes fun of you because,
You're not eating the.
Yeah, you know,
You're not eating the high brand caviar. You're eating the home brand.
yeah, exactly. And then you punch him in the face.
Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan just looks like a dude that you punch in the face.
Pierce Brosnan has more hair than head.
Yes. See, here's my problem with Pierce Brosnan. You nailed it. Pierce Brosnan can flip a fucking car. He can fall off a building or do whatever Pierce Brosnan does, and his hair is fucking perfect every single time. Barely a scratch on his face, nothing. And he also like had some fucking like some of the most ridiculous. And I know it's not Pierce Brosnan. I know it's the writers, but they did that for this particular Bond. Like, you know, like what was it? Christmas Jones. I think it was from Tomorrow Never Dies. I'm just going to check my notes quickly. The World Is Not Enough. She was Denise Richards, the nuclear physicist, which no one was buying.
Oh my God. And that was the next thing I was going to bring up. But yeah, go on.
It was like, I thought Christmas only came once a year.
But you know
when it's the fuck scene at the end.
Yeah.
It's like, that's how you're going to finish this thing off?
And
Come on, man.
do you remember they had Judi Dench.
Damn, Judi Dench.
Looking at Pierce Brosnan on the heat radar.
Yes.
And his private area started getting hotter and hotter and hotter.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, man. I blame Pierce Brosnan for all of that. They started off so well. Like when you look at GoldenEye, when you look at the tank scene, it's fucking brilliant. It opens with that kick-ass fucking bungee jump scene,
which we've spoken about before.
Yep, the
Absolutely
whole
amazing.
thing, like that whole movie with Famke Janssen. I don't even know how to pronounce her name. She was Jean Grey from the old X-Men movies. She was in it.
Boris the hacker,
like everything was so Natalia, all of it, so good. And then it just went downhill real quick.
Yeah.
From then, that's going to take us to Daniel Craig, who has had 4 appearances as Bond, soon to be 5. His movies are Casino Royale in 2006, Quantum of Solace in 2008, Skyfall in 2012, Spectre in 2015, and Bond 25 in 2019. What do you like about Daniel Craig?
I like Daniel Craig because he's a man's man.
Daniel Craig looks like he could fuck you up.
He's like the type of guy you go into a pub with.
Yeah, and he punches Pierce Brosnan right in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the guy you want to be with, not the guy you want to fuck with.
Yeah. I thought you were going to... yeah, for sure. 100%. Like this, like what I like about Daniel Craig is he brought Bond into the 21st century, in my opinion.
Yep.
Like this, he took it away from this campy, like, you know, I like... Pierce Brosnan kind of like, you know, effectively, not Pierce Brosnan, I know it's not his fault, but his movies were kind of like a throwback to the Roger Moore ones where the stunts are really elaborate and, you know, Bond's camp and, you know, stuff like that. And Daniel Craig made it realistic. And this is in a world where, you know, he's kind of going up against people like, you know, the Jason Bournes of the world and all that sort of stuff.
This is actually my problem with this Bond is that I feel like the lines are blurred between James Bond and Jason Bourne.
Well, Jason Bourne doesn't have the same type of character that that Daniel Craig's Bond has, in the sense of.
But is that only down to circumstance?
What? Because he doesn't have his memory, so he lost his fucking sense of humor.
Yeah, well, absolutely, but also doesn't get to go into the same scenarios that Bond would.
Oh, maybe, but you know, like that's not to say that if Jason Bourne was in a casino, Jason Bourne is going to be a witty fucking, you know, like boss. He's just going to be Jason Bourne. He's like, what's my name?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, I forgot my name. I don't know why he's like Scottish or whatever.
I haven't got my memory set.
Oh, I can't remember what cards I had.
Oh, shit, I'm a good fighter, though.
Yeah, look at this. I know how to speak all the languages. Look, I actually love Jason Bourne. I love those movies as well. Those movies are fucking fantastic. What I like about Daniel Craig, though, is the fact that he looks the part. Like, he looks like he is a guy that is trained to fuck with your life.
And that's it.
But he's still handsome as fuck, and he's still witty, and he's intelligent. And he's like a ladies' man still. Yeah. So that's what I like about him.
He's a man's man.
He is a man's man. I guess what I don't like about him, though, is the fact that he kind of okay, two things. So one, he basically said before signing on to this last role that he would rather slit his own wrist than be Bond again. So I don't know how that bodes for Bond 25 and whether it's actually going to be any good or if he is really checked out and he's just doing it because they're throwing a butt ton of money at him. So that's a bit scary. Other than that, like, it's... I guess if you could say anything, it doesn't, like, he's not as much of like a ladies' man and like a charmer that, you know, a Sean Connery or something like that is. And that's kind of more the Bond character, sure, but I think that's also a case of the fact that we're in the 2000s now and we're not back in the 60s where it was okay to be a complete like alcoholic womanizing bastard.
Absolutely.
Where like you could literally in doing my research, this is something that I completely forgot, but there is a scene where Sean Connery's Bond is kissing a woman, and in her eye, he sees a man sneaking up behind him to like hit him with a thing, with a club. So he spins the woman around, and she gets hit with the club, and then he like fights the dude. Now I'm pretty sure that like chick was probably bad.
Yeah,
right? I don't remember that movie at all. I would have to assume that she was bad.
Imagine if that happened today.
Otherwise, Sean Connery is just the world's biggest prick. And that James Bond has just thrown a woman as a shield to get a clubbing. You can't get away with that shit these days.
No, you can't.
So, you know, I think that's just a case of like the fact that we're in the 2000s is that he's not so overtly sexual.
Yeah, I think what you... I agree. He hasn't got the charisma. He's just missing that little bit of charisma, that little bit of wit, a little bit of charm.
Yeah.
He's a bit too jaded.
Yeah. I will go on record, though. I've said it before on the show. Casino Royale 2006 is my all-time favorite Bond movie. I don't care what any people say. There are plenty others that are great. Goldfinger.
How dare you have an opinion, sir?
How dare I? Well, this is all opinion-based, and that's my opinion. Casino Royale wins for me, but we're not talking about best Bond movies. So, let's get into it.
Your opinion's different to mine, so it's wrong.
Let's fight on the internet. Best Bond, who you got? Who's your favorite? It's not who's... It's tough. It's not necessarily who is the definitive best Bond. It's just who is your favorite Bond.
Pierce Brosnan in GoldenEye.
Okay. I hate you, but okay. That's fine. Oh, God, I hate Pierce Brosnan so much. Like, I
hate his hair.
I refuse to watch any Pierce Brosnan movie now because of his role, like his tenure as Bond.
He would have made an amazing Cable.
Nah, I would not have watched that movie.
Yes, you
I would have stuck to my guns. I will say, and like this is no secret, I've been on record before as saying Daniel Craig is my favorite Bond. But I think the reason, like, is he the stereotypical, the definitive Bond? No. I really think that's Sean Connery. It's just he is the one that I like the most because I appreciate the fact that it's in a contemporary setting.
Absolutely.
He lives in the day that I live.
And he's the most different of them all.
Yeah, and he is the one that helped to bring Bond into the 21st century. And, you know, a lot of people who mightn't have been Bond fans before certainly are now because of his portrayal as the character. And I just love the fact that the dude looks like he could fuck you up. And that bowl torturing shit scene, that was fucking classic. Classic. I love it. Anyway.
You might be the only man in the world. Let us know who you think is the best Bond, and let us know your favorite Bond movie.
Yes, do that. That, my friend, is going to take us into the listener questions section.
Listener questions.
And we have 3 listener questions this week. 3. I know
Troy, this is getting outrageous.
I know I said we're only going to do 2, but we're going to do 3. Now let's get into it.
Okay.
Let's just get into them. We have a question from Daniel. Which Doctor in the Marvel Universe would make the best actual GP? Now, that's a pretty fucking good question.
That's a fucking great question.
Now, I had to do like a tiny little bit of research just because I wanted to make sure I was covering off all the Doctors that I could think of. So, Doctor Strange.
Yep.
Dr. Bruce Banner.
Yep.
Dr. Donald Blake, if you want to talk Thor. But I don't think, you know, like it's not exactly... I don't know if he's talking Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because if that's the case...
Let's go comics.
There is no Doctor. Doctor Doom, Dr. Octavius...
Isn't Stark a doctor? He's got a doctorate.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. That's where it becomes
Mr.
like a little bit
Fantastic's
like,
also got a doctorate.
They got PhDs and things like that. So technically, a lot of them have like doctorates in certain things. Are they medical doctors? No, and that's the thing. That's kind of what I'm looking at. Dr. Hank Pym, Hank McCoy, Beast, he's one. Kurt Connors, the Lizard, that's another one. As I go through this list, I would say none of them.
I feel like they're
Because
getting
all would
progressively
have,
worse.
Yeah, they would all have fucking terrible bedside manner.
Yeah, I think Hank Pym would think your problem's like just a small issue.
Yeah, it's like, hey.
And if you're complaining about it, he'll smack it out of you.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say Doc Ock.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Only because he has all them arms.
You know, I'm going to go Doc Ock as well because I believe he might be the only one who's a surgeon.
Well,
in our
Doctor
list.
Strange is a surgeon. But
Not no more, though.
But well, that's true, not no more.
Doc Ock can, perform on 8 people now.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd give it to him.
Yep.
He'd be would he be the nicest doctor? Would he be like your friendly neighborhood, local GP that you'd want to go down and drop your pants and say, I've got this weird thing on my balls. Can you check out what that is? Probably not, because those metal pincers, you don't want them
imagine
grabbing
that.
at your balls. But he still has 2 normal hands. So I'd probably say him for his 2 normal hands, but his other hands that can do all the other things, if that answers your question.
Yeah, I agree.
Excellent. We also have a question from Chris. This is a nice, easy one. Favorite Power Ranger or favorite Ninja Turtle? So I want both. Favorite Power Ranger, favorite Ninja Turtle.
Ooh, this is hard.
Is it?
Yeah, because the Power Rangers are so diverse. You got Red Ranger, Green Ranger, and White Ranger. Who do I choose out of all of them?
What about yellow, pink, blue, red?
I don't fuck with them.
Black?
Nah. I am going with White Ranger after the Green Ranger turned good.
Okay. What about Ninja Turtle?
Ninja Turtle, I'm going with Raphael because he's got an attitude problem.
Okay. Power Rangers, I'll go don't care because I'm not a big Power Rangers fan. But if I had to say one, why not the pink one? She's traditionally the hottest, so I'll go with that.
Wow.
What? That's the truth. When have you ever seen an ugly pink ranger?
Good call.
Yeah, thank you. As for favorite Ninja Turtles, I have always been a fan of Leonardo over all of them. I know he seems to be the most boring of them all.
What a nerd.
But he is kind of the leader of the group, and, I kind of, gravitate towards that. Plus, I like his swords, katanas, and whatnot.
He's more nerdy than the nerdy one.
Whatever. Just because Raphael is, a bit of a fucking bitch in the sense of... He's not a bitch, but, he's like a bitch. You know what I mean? Raphael is a bitch.
Wow.
Yeah, I've gone on record.
What a Michelangelo thing to say.
Ah, man. You're such a Donatello sometimes.
That's racist.
All right. The last question we have is from Charlie. And with the Defenders coming out today, which it does, we are recording on a Friday. We're not watching Defenders, goddammit. We are recording this show. We will be soon. Let me tell you. With Defenders coming out today, do you think that they should be included in the MCU in the future, and why or why not? If you think they should be, how should they be introduced? Go.
Should they? No. Oh, with characters like Hawkeye floating around,
Yeah.
I feel like Daredevil, Iron Fist, Luke Cage are much, much better fits to be in the Avengers. This is a really, really tricky question. Do they belong? Do they deserve to belong in the MCU?
I can give you my answer pretty quickly.
Yeah, okay.
If you want to think about,
Yeah.
gather your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm going to go deep into it. So
Okay, for me, no. I think just keep them separate. I think it works better. What I want to see, though, is, they don't ever have to cross over. I don't need to see my Marvel Netflix heroes in the MCU or anything like that. What I don't want to see is things where they don't get to reference those characters. I want to see them reference them. I don't want to see them the big green guy and the flag waver and shit like that. That shit does my fucking head in. I want them to be able to, licensing-wise, be able to say the Hulk or
Captain
America,
Yep.
et cetera, et cetera. But they don't need to interact. their stories can be kept grounded and kept within like Hell's Kitchen or, Harlem or wherever they want to keep them. Keep it involved there. You don't really need reasons for these guys not to show up in these big events because they just don't need to be involved in these intergalactic events, especially in Infinity War and stuff like that. It doesn't really make sense for these guys in particular to be there. I see what you're saying with Hawkeye and even Black Widow and stuff like that, but they're already established characters, so it's going to happen. These guys don't need to be. Keep them separate. Make the Marvel Netflix universe fucking amazing. Just have them actually be able to reference the other ones.
Yeah, look, I think I don't want them to go to the MCU, I want the MCU to come to them.
Right.
And I would love for, like, say, Black Widow or Hawkeye to make an appearance on the Netflix shows. I feel like Hawkeye could have a really great Netflix TV show. Imagine Hawkeye and the Punisher going at it.
Yeah. But do you think then, though, that you're limited to what you can do? Because, is that a situation where you can really only use, like, Hawkeye and Black Widow? Is this a whole Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Lady Sif from Thor?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're never going to get Chris Hemsworth's Thor on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And, I would be happy with that because I could make the connection that this isn't a Thor-level threat.
Right.
This is a Black Widow threat. This is a Hawkeye threat.
Yeah.
As long as the threat suited the character's need, I could live with that.
Yeah, so you just got to keep their stories grounded, basically.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that. Both work. Both are right. There are no wrong answers in fandom.
Unless it's not my opinion.
Yeah, unless it's different to what you think. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Charlie, for your questions this week. We'll be back again next week, doing this whole thing again. You know what we're going to talk about next week?
Next week, we are talking about the Defenders.
That's right. You have just over a week to get 8 episodes of glory into your eyeballs. You know you can do it. It's 8 goddamn episodes.
Sit down. You'll probably smash it out in a day. 2 max.
2 max. I'll give you 3 tops. I'm going to try to do it as absolutely quickly as I possibly can. I'm definitely going to knock out a couple tonight. I'm not scared.
Hey.
I am not scared to be up all night like a bad boy.
Wow.
I'm not afraid to go to bed at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll do it.
No, you won't.
Yeah. But we'll be back next week. So you have a whole week to watch The Defenders. We do want to get onto it as quickly as possible. We will try to keep it. We'll have a little bit of a spoiler-free section, but
you can't do that with the TV show.
You can't do it like just the overall thoughts. We'll have our overall thoughts.
Yeah, it was good. Now into spoilers.
We'll have our overall thoughts, but then we'll get into it.
Okay.
Just in case you can't get it all done. So fear not. Plus, there's always the news section and shit like that. You can listen to that and just skip that whole shit. Do what you want.
We're not your dads.
Or are we?
Ooh.
Let's thank some people, man.
Let's thank the listeners, subscribers, and reviewers. You guys killed it last week. Let's see if we can kill it again this week.
That's right. Just quickly, again, thank you, Bamboojikin. I'm sure it's right. Raf H, Cal Comic Coolness, and, of course, our winner from last week, Chris Bridget. Make sure you hit us up on Facebook or somewhere and let us know that it's you and what you want us to talk about on episode 85. Don't forget, 5 reviews this week, and one of you will join us, probably not live, over the phone, I would say.
Yeah.
For a special episode of Just the Boys Trivia Challenge, where it's you versus Fat Cade, with me being the Trizmaster. Where can people find us, man?
People can find us on Facebook. That is Comic Confidential. You can also join the listener community. That is Comic Confidential Listener Community. Join in there and just talk with a whole bunch of listeners of the show. We have a website. Oh, no, wait. We have Twitter and Instagram. That's at ComicConPod. The website is ComicConPod.com. Past episodes, future episodes, and everything in between.
We have a Patreon. That's ComicConPod.com / No, it's not. It's Patreon.com /ComicConPod. One of those two. Just type stuff in and it'll eventually come up. It's the internet. It works itself out. So it's Patreon.com / ComicConPod. Jump on there for as little as $1 a month. You can support the show. $2 gets you into that thing that you said before. Or did you say the Patreon, super special Patreon chat? That's in there. Early access to shows, etc., 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 etc. There are a whole bunch of other things.
The perks get better the more you give.
That's right.
You give to us and we give back to you.
Sometimes it takes us a little bit of time to get said perks out to you, but eventually they go. They 100% go. I swear to God.
Look, and if you need a reason to jump on our Patreon at the moment, now's the time. For $1 a month, you can get access to our second podcast. It's currently a secret.
It's currently a secret that we're going to talk about.
But no one can get it unless they're part of the Patreon group.
Yet.
It will
be
come out in about
released
3 months.
to the public.
But you can get early access. If you love Harry Potter, this is a podcast for you. Chapter by chapter, we review it.
We don't.
Well, we don't, but
Other people do.
other people do.
That's right.
If you're wondering where Amy is, that's what she's doing at the moment.
Yeah. She's out there. She's got her own show now. She don't need us.
No, she's moved on, man.
She'll be back every now and then. Probably not. Who knows? Who can tell with that girl?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that it? I think that's everything. We have a Redbubble. You get T-shirts there. That's the thing. That's in the show notes. Best place to try to get access to that is just go to the show notes. There's a link. It's the easiest way to do it.
They'll be the cheapest shirts you'll buy, too.
Yeah. We don't even make any money off those shirts, goddammit. We just want you to have them and wear them. And coffee mugs and stuff. You don't wear coffee mugs, but you need to have one. Look, that's it. Thanks for listening. As always, I'm Troy.
I'm Cade.
And this has been Comic Confidential.
Cheers.
Peace. Can't believe I survived like almost that whole thing without dying.
Yeah. People won't even know that I have to stitch some things together. It's going to sound seamless.
Actually had to edit this week.
Oh, what was that?
I'm
2
so
points?
sorry.
It's going to take me like 10 minutes.
2 times because I nearly died. Oh, my God. Speaking of nearly dying, that's us tomorrow, my friend.
Oh, we're going to be so dead. So dead.
Happy box party, man.
Thanks, mate.
I love you.
Love you too, Dad.